Super Rugby power rankings for week number 2. All the teams are on the move this week, except one. One remains static, and that will become apparent pretty shortly. It is only the second week of the power rankings, so as I said last week with the first video, these results are still pretty early on in the comp. We've not got a whole lot of data to work with. There's 2 teams that have only played 1 game. So it's kind of hard to get an idea where they're at, but I'm still starting the power rankings from week 1. I probably should start from like week 4 if I wanted to kind of give the teams a chance to kind of show us where they're at. But no, I like to start from week 1. These are probably my favorite videos to do. I like just kind of tweaking things around and see how they go. But yeah, we'll have a look at the rankings, and you guys can let me know your thoughts at the end. 15th, and this is the team that does not move. It's the Sunwolves. Kind of no surprises there. They had another loss. It was a close loss. They could have won it if not for that drop goal going a few meters to the left at the end of that game. But 2 losses. It's a home loss. It's a loss against a conference rival. It's not an ideal start for the Sunwolves. Can they get better? Well, I guess we'll see. Hopefully, because yeah, they kind of like Italy in the Six Nations always have questions about their validity in the comp based on performances. Next, and down 5 spots, is the Chiefs. Who would have thought the Chiefs and the Hurricanes, not the Hurricanes, the Sunwolves, sorry about that Hurricanes fans, would have the same starting record of none from 2. I didn't pick it, that's for sure. So, yeah, they got an absolute walloping from the Brumbies at the weekend. Sure, it was away from home. But the Brumbies aren't the strongest team. But they sure made the Chiefs look pretty ordinary in that game. So, yeah, it's been a pretty bad start for the Chiefs. I'm still kind of waiting for them to wake up. You feel like it's going to happen. But in terms of their competition hopes, you'd want it to be sooner rather than later. Next. Well, we had 1 week out of the bottom row, but the Blues are now firmly in the bottom row. Also, no wins from 2 games. They are down 3 spots. A kind of heartening effort in that first week to lose at home, albeit at home it was against the Crusaders, so took a little bit of heart from that, and then they went over to South Africa, played the Sharks, and got pretty comfortably beaten. It wasn't an absolute hiding, but they were never going to win that game. Didn't score any points in the first half. So, which Blues team is going to show up next week? They're becoming the France of Super Rugby, but yeah, I suppose they wear the same colour. It's not ideal. Next, and they've only played 1 game, so it's a bit unfair, but I'm putting the Reds here. They've also got a 100% losing record, again, only from 1 game. They put in a decent effort against the Highlanders, so they showed that they've got some class and some talent, and that they've got potential to get better in this competition. But given that it's week 2, they haven't got any wins. It's hard for me to rank them higher until we can see more what they can do. But based on that performance, you got to be a wee bit optimistic. Next, and up 3. What a difference a week makes for the Stormers, because they were the victims of a walloping of their own in week 1 against the Bulls, but they managed to turn things around against the Lions. I didn't see that game in full. I know you guys, some of you said that the reffing was a wee bit controversial in that game, but either way, the Stormers went and got a win. They're a different team at Newlands. Maybe I should have a separate power rankings for the away Stormers and the home Stormers, because they really do seem to put in different performances depending on where they're at. Hopefully we can see a wee bit more consistency from them in the coming weeks. Next, and it's down 6 spots. It's the Bulls. Yeah, it's a harsh drop, but again, that's the nature of week 2. You go from a 100% winning team to a team which is now 50-50. And that performance against the Jaguars, they were lackluster. That was a night and day difference from that team we saw in week 1. So, kind of like some of these other teams, it remains to be seen which one is going to turn up more often this year. if you're a Bulls fan, it's hopefully that first week team. But we know they've got a bad performance in them somewhere. So, yeah, the best teams like the Crusaders can play badly and still get a win. But the Bulls, when they played badly, yeah, just looked a yard off the pace. The next one, up 2 spots, is the Waratahs. So, sure, they got a win. And it was away, so credit to them for travelling to Japan and getting a win. But they didn't impress anybody with that win. Not really. Where the Sunwolves are at and where the Tars are at was kind of the bigger question from that game. Did the Waratahs put in a bad performance? Are the Sunwolves improving? Is it a bit of both? I guess time will tell. But yeah, they're not setting the world alight as yet, are the Waratahs. Next, the Jaguares. I suppose credit to them for coming back after their own poor performance in that first week to lift a level, which may take a wee while with Bonisia running the show at 10 in place of Nico Sanchez, who's gone abroad. So, yeah, it's still feeling a bit of a settling in period. New coach, new playmaker. So it might take a bit of time. But hopefully the fact that they've won in week 2 this time will get them on the track early, because last year they were slow starters and managed to catch up enough to make the playoffs. But if they're going to take another step forward, it needs to start earlier this season. So 1 from 2. Could be worse, could be better, and yeah, bring on the next week for them. The next one, the Hurricanes. They went to Christchurch and got absolutely pummeled for a half. Then the Crusaders took off their good players, or at least their first team players, and then the Hurricanes brought on their good players and the game turned around a bit. So it makes you wonder where the game would have been at if both teams had been at 100% from the start, but we'll never know. So not that disappointing from the Hurricanes, but also you got to question the selections a bit. If they were looking at that as a game that's not winnable and that they're going to focus their energies on games that are more winnable, that's a bit disappointing. But I guess if you're a Canes fan, you got to kind of trust in what Plumtree is doing. Either way, it was a pretty disappointing performance. The bright side is that they denied the Crusaders a bonus point, but still, it wasn't the best by any means. They're not at the moment looking like a team that's going to run away with the comp, so we'll see if they can take a step up. Next, the Lions. I've got them down 4 spots from last week. Yeah, again, like kind of a history-breaking victory over the Jaguares in week 1, and then they threw away a lead against the Stormers. Again, ref questions. I didn't see the whole game, but you guys can, well, you guys have given me a bit of insight into that. I'm never that big a fan of former players refereeing their own teams, but I don't know if that cost the Lions the game or not. I only saw the very kind of dying stages of it where the Lions were really under the pump. They had a man in the bin and eventually they conceded. So, yeah, I've seen the highlights as well, but probably not enough to say. I still think they'll be better than that. And it's just a bit strange that usually over the South African teams they tend to get it right, but not this week. So, still got to have them at number 6. They're going to be a threat. And, yeah, we'll see what the rest of the comp brings. Next, and this is the biggest mover, up 8 spots, which shouldn't happen, but it did, because that team showed up against the Chiefs and just put on a masterclass. I do not expect that from the Brumbies every week. Would I back the Brumbies to get a win over the Lions right now, or the Canes? Perhaps not, but what they did to the Chiefs will make you at least question, especially after that first round loss. So the Brumbies ended last season well. They've started one game poorly and then they're back at their straps. So I'm fingers crossed that the Aussie teams are going to be good. If the Brumbies can lead the way, no problems with that for me whatsoever. They're a traditionally strong team. They've been not the best for the last few years, but if they're on the right track, even as a Blues fan, I'm still a happy camper. Next, and perhaps the biggest winners, the Rebels, who by sitting around doing nothing on the bye managed to go up 2 spots. Basically, teams above them lost. So, not all of them, but a couple of them. So, where are they at? We will see. once they play more rugby. Next, Highlanders down 2 spots, and this is despite the fact that they got another win. It wasn't a convincing win over the Reds. It was at home, and the Reds last year were really, well, a team towards the foot of the table. Highlanders strong at home, should have been able to put the Reds away, but didn't quite do it. They did enough against the Chiefs in their first week, but look where the Chiefs are at now. So the Highlanders look good, but not great. So still being in the top row is credit to them. I'm not going to take anything away from them for getting 2 out of 2 wins. That's a great start. But I feel like, again, there needs to be another gear hit for them to really put a mark on the comp. Next, and up 5. How long did it take the Crusaders to get into the top row? About as long as it took the Blues to get into the bottom. They're at number 2. They're 2 from 2. Their win against the Hurricanes, as I said, was pretty good. They did go off the boil a bit once they took all the big guns off. But part of it is the game was in the bag, and guys mentally aren't able to keep up that same level of performance when they're not under that kind of pressure. Mistakes happen. They took their foot off the throat. It's not that Crusader-like, but the Crusaders are 2 from 2. Is anybody surprised? Nope. Lastly, number 1. Have they ever been number 1 on my power rankings before? I don't think so. But number 1 goes to the Sharks. I got them up 2 spots. Consistently good over both games. But if you're going to play devil's advocate, you say, who have they played? They've played the Sunwolves, who finished 15th, and the Blues, who finished 14th last season. So the Sharks haven't truly been tested yet. They do look the business, but it's 2 weeks in, so we're definitely not looking at a Sharks against Jaguares finals match at the end of the season. I guess we'll see. You guys let me know your thoughts on the rankings. Who would you have up? Who would you have down? As I said, it's week 2, so there's definitely going to be some fluctuations. Hopefully we kind of steady on a bit as the season goes on. But yeah, I do like the power ranking vids. They are a bit of fun for me. But yeah, that's it, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.